Blessed Sunday to all. Ganina, while looking at the main intention for today's celebration, aside from the Indigenous People Sunday, when I saw the words Extreme Poverty Day, I felt a little bit, if not an outrageous and overwhelming irony. Unsay irony sa Binisaya? Di naman nato ni kayo gamiton nga pulong, no? But irony is baligho. I don't know if you still have that in your vocabulary. Why did I feel an overwhelming irony? Because our readings today speaks about banquet. The first reading is what the Lord has invited, okay, but that is already directed to the end times. The responsorial psalm, the Good Shepherd Psalm, Psalm 23, describes also the Lord, the Good Shepherd, actually preparing a table, a banquet. St. Paul is talking about the experience of what it means to be well-fed, but also at the same time being hungry. And then the gospel reading is talking about a banquet. Unya karong adlaw atong gihinumduman ang people who are those in extreme poverty, no? Dili ba medyo sakit pa malandungan. But what is interesting here, despite the overwhelming irony, is that this particular imagery, most especially coming from the gospel reading today, is a constant call to be able to prepare ourselves to be made worthy when the banquet comes. And that is at the end of times. And there is another second ironical note in the gospel reading today. Not only the man who was singled out, who went to the wedding without wearing the wedding garment. Because sometimes in our human understanding, sa atong reasoning, maingon ta nga, alang-alang, kinsa pa may makapangandam ato nga dinali-dali naman to sila nga gitawag. The invitation was in a hurry. Although we have to take into perspective that this is in relation to the end times. In other words, the invitation to the banquet, despite no sa pagbalibad sa una nga mga gitawag, takes some time. We are not talking here about human time. We are talking about God's time. And there has to be an ample time na at least makapangandam ka nga makasulob ka sa bisti alang sa kasal. But then the irony that I am talking about here is with those and for those who were invited, good and evil alike, good and bad as well. Nga ang mga dautan sa diay nakasulob sa bisti sa kasal. No? So in other words, there is an ample time that is given for us to be prepared. And that time actually has something to do with how we respond to even the little time or extension that is given to us. The Lord is never outdone in His generosity and in His mercy. And time is God's gift to us. Ang punto lang kay dili giunsa nato paggamit ang panahon, ang takna nga gihatag alang kanato. And so this is actually a very appropriate time. Now, despite the experiences that we have, by the way, just from a personal note, ning lukso ang akong kasing-kasing pagkakita nato karon nga murag 3 times ang ning attend. No, kay pila na ka bulan ang katong mga regulars diri, di ba? Kanina pagtan-aw na ako, nisiga gud akong mata. And I'm so overwhelmed as well. Kay nalipay sad ko nga daghan ta nga nagkatigom. In fact, our coming here in the Eucharist is a step towards that particular banquet that is prepared for us. But the question still remains, how have we prepared ourselves? And how have we used our time wisely? I always remember talking to the seminarians in the seminary formation the value of time management. Time management is not just from the secular point of view. Because every day we have to plan up what we have to do. And part of the planning is always the consideration of time as God's precious gift. And with that time, we have always to prepare as well, every bit and every inch of it. And so as we prepare and continue ourselves with all the many graces and the way that the Lord is touching our lives, nindot kayong pamalandungan, and it has to be a reason for thanksgiving every time because He gives us whatever is good on our part, and it is up to us now to make use of that good, even in the little time that is given to us. Amen.